Now it's around that time that we should be getting some type of NBA Live, NBA 2K21 news in the next coming months. And with that, man, I feel like today is a good time to talk about the 5 things NBA Live needs to do day one to compete with NBA 2K21. Now, I'm not saying beat or destroy or anything like that. I'm just saying to compete, have their own little market share of the business, and hey, do something special with it. Now, these 5 things are going to be a compressed list because I am well aware that NBA Live has a lot to do, but also 2K20 kind of dropped the ball with a lot of their fans making the game the way they made it. To some of us, they had really good elements in the game that was just so good, especially changing out the badges and some of the movement, but then it came to the pacing, the gameplay, the hop steps, the 99 overall system. It was so many bad things about the game and the lack of creativity all the way around. You really didn't want to mess with the game after a few months. So with that, man, today we're going to be talking about a compressed list of the 5 things NBA Live 21 has to do day one in order to compete. Now, first things first is movement. Now, in every video game, we are all aware that movement is one of those things that allows your player to feel free, rather on the battlefield, rather shooting a weapon, or trying to make a play. Regardless of the situation, this needs to be a pivotal point in order to compete day one, because one thing 2K allows you to do is feel free on the floor. Now, I can't speak for players online, but as far as 2K19 and back, if I move with my individual player, it feels amazing without any contact. Now, as far as running, foot planting, player control, acceleration, deceleration, those things are going to be so important because you want to look like your counterpart in real life whenever you're moving on the floor. So that's going to be huge for NBA Live 21 day one. And honestly, them introducing real player motion in NBA Live 19, it really changed the game for how the game looked on the offensive side of the ball. Another thing that they can expand upon, which NBA 2K really dropped the ball on this, is the off-ball movement. I feel like nobody uses the off-ball movement mechanic in NBA 2K, but Live 19, man, it was just so crispy because you had swim moves, rip moves, push-offs, pulls. You had so many opportunities to just get by your defender with the hands, and also don't sleep, man. The defenders had an opportunity to hold, grab, slow down. Any of the situations that you wanted to do with the right stick, especially on the defensive end, you had those opportunities naturally with control. And I think that's something that they should expand upon going into the future, especially on the defensive end with real player motion. Now, player control defensively should feel free. And for those of you that played NBA Live 19 and 18, we are all aware of the situation. They added this feature called defensive assists. And the issue with it is that it makes your player move without you actually moving for it. So if you hold L trigger on NBA Live 19 specifically, your player will stay in front of its matchup naturally. And if you hold LB, it will guard the ball naturally. And that was something that really took away from the freedom on the defensive end, especially if you wanted to play zone defense or if you wanted to shade and help. It just made it feel like you were just stuck on guarding one man. And a lot of times that will put you in a bad situation defensively. So day one, defensive controls got to be tight, responsive. Foot planning got to be precise. It can't be to the point where it's assisting me or helping me. And if you are going to have that feature in the game, make it a slider, an option. That way, if somebody wants all the assists in the world where they need the game to hold their hand, let them put that slider on 100. But for those of us that want the freedom of movement and positioning on the floor, allow us to have that on 0 and really make it competitive for us to play on both ends of the floor. The next thing day one that NBA Live needs to do, which is number 2, is shot contests and blocks. This was something that was huge in Live 19 because there was too many canned animations from the AI. There's too many canned animations from good defenders, and also just anybody and everybody could do a 2-hand snatch block off the backboard, from Ryan Anderson to Isaiah Thomas. It didn't make sense. And so with that, man, ratings have to matter with that, but also shot contests have to matter. I remember when Live 19 released and there was a gap in the community of good defenders, but also good shooters who thought since you would smother them on defense and be directly in their face, like I'm talking about, you can be forehead to forehead and they shoot the ball and have a massive green window. they'll green it and feel like they're the best player in the world. And so with that, it created this gap that they were better than you in the game, when in reality, the game was broken. So with that, man, good defensive positioning should be rewarded, along with actual block attempts and shot contest positioning. If somebody's getting smothered, I feel like a green window should not be present, but also the percentage of the shots should still be there to go in. I'm okay with people making contested shots because in the NBA it happens, but I'm also not cool with the fact that guys could consistently go 9 for 9 from the field with smothered green releases in NBA Live 19 when it first released. It just wasn't a good look at all. So at the beginning of the game, day one, a shot contest system, I would rather more shot contests be had and guys are missing those contested shots versus people making everything that they throw up with a green release. Now, as far as blocks, it needs to be rating based, specifically to the athletes that have the athleticism along with the defensive ratings connected to it. So it should be vertical, acceleration, speed, stamina, and then the block rating tied to that, and maybe even a trait that'll allow them to be able to block those shots. Now, as far as manual block animations, if guys have proper timing, they're getting to the right spot at the right time, of course, get the block. But I'm not saying I want somebody who is not a shot blocker to go up and just easily take the ball out of my guy's hands and then run the other way with it. It's just not going to be a good look overall day one. Now, this moves me into my next point, and that's features, especially with NBA Live 19, because there were a lot of situations where they would give us new animations like the influencer dribble packages like the Professor, Bone Collector, T-Jazz, Fillet, and they would make you do live events to get the animations, but outside of that, there was no real way to unlock it, even now if you play NBA Live 19 to this day. And with that, man, I believe no animation should be hidden or inaccessible if a position rating should be able to unlock it. And with that, man, that goes back to the fact that we shouldn't have to always play a live event. If you have the animation in the game, just put it in the store, allow us to unlock it, or connect it to our one player builds. That way, if somebody is a shooting guard and they have an 85 dribbling and the cap on unlocking influencer dribble moves like Professor, Bone Collector, T-Jazz, Fillet, it's 85, just give it to them as something that they can unlock with the in-game currency, which is RP, and then go from there. That way we don't have people saying that they can't unlock certain things. The next feature that's going to be pivotal day one. Now, guards, wings should be able to move between point guard, shooting guard, and small forward, and bigs should be able to move between center and power forward. The issue with the NBA Live 19 and 18 is because they have this system of you're making a guard, wing, or a big. But the issue with that is that your player doesn't naturally play shooting guard or power forward. Like, you can't just move that guy to that position and match him up if you have a mismatch that day, so to speak. Now, this is something just for me as far as a PvE player as well as PvP. And PvE means you're going against the computer in events that they put up occasionally for you to unlock gear. With that, man, live events day one should have a small library accessible. That doesn't mean that it needs to be timed or anything. Just give us 5 events that maybe last the entire week, but also still give us those daily live events that come out, because there are a lot of situations where Live 19 came out where I would play one event and then the next event won't unlock for the next 8 hours, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it took away time for me to even want to play the game after I finished maybe grinding my character a little bit and also playing online. I just want to unlock some things. So there should be a small library with at least 5 events, co-op and solo, that you can do that's always in a library throughout the week. That way, once a week is up, that library changes, but you're still giving us that daily live event, maybe 2 or 3 of those at a time. Now, as far as this feature, this is requested by the Play Now players, obviously, and the franchise players. Play calling. This menu should be accessible when you tap L1 or LB. That's simple as that. I know we're probably going to steal this feature from 2K, but let it be. Tap LB or L1, and then with player specific connected buttons, have it be AX, BY, or X, circle, triangle, square, and then cycle through the plays with right trigger or R2. Just simple as that, straight from 2K19. I know it may not be what they want, but the system that was in place, especially with you having to use the right stick, your guy would be dribbling in the process of trying to select a play for a certain character, and a lot of times it wouldn't stick on the guy that you wanted to run the play for. So you're ended up wasting more than 12 seconds on the clock trying to pick a play. Number 4, lighting. This is something that was a massive separator in NBA 2K19 and NBA Live 19. Live just had really gray and dull and dark colors, and it just did not pop on the screen. And that's something that's huge to any gamer in general. When you play Fortnite, the colors absolutely pop off the screen to the point that it's engaging, it's entertaining, it's eye-catching. And last but not least, servers. That's the main thing that's going to keep the game playable from day one up until Christmas. And that way, when people are saying how good the game is or whatever the case may be, people really have a chance to play it throughout. Live 19 had really bad server issues at the beginning, for some people at least. I remember hopping into games and being kicked out, and then people will screenshot and message me saying they dropped me off. And I'm like, I haven't even played against this person because I lagged out at the very beginning of the game. So with that, man, we need our servers going well. And as far as that, man, matchmaking should consistently activate after a game has concluded in a public lobby. This is something that didn't happen at all in NBA Live 19 or 18. And it should be similar to what Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever the case may be is, like shooters. Once the game is concluded, allow people to leave, and of course allow people to join, but have that lobby already ticking the timer down into the next game. But besides that, my people, these are the 5 top things NBA Live needs to compete with 2K day one. You can tell me what you think in the comment section, because I just believe these are going to be massive as far as day one playability. Guys already know NBA Live took so many years off this last decade, and going into the next decade, man, they didn't start off on a good foot because they canceled NBA Live 20. So if 21 isn't ready and we're having issues with shot contests or lighting or face scans or defense, whatever the case may be, it's not going to be a good look. And with 2K20 being in the state it is in, hey, Live really has a chance to step up and do something special. So if you are new to the channel, man, make sure to subscribe. I'll have my other NBA Live videos here. That way you can check those out, especially the gameplays, man. But besides that, hey, I'll see you in the next one.